Hello students, I am Rashmi Sinha. All of you welcome in my chemistry class, that is Chemistry Gurukul, and today we will study this topic, that is laws of chemical combinations. See children, during 17th century many chemists they were trying to find out how compounds formed. So on their basis of observations, they had drawn different laws and hypotheses. So on the basis of these laws and hypotheses, today we will discuss 6 laws. But let me tell you that only 5 laws are there in your syllabus except this one. That is, law of reciprocal proportion is not given in the NCERT book. Okay. So first today we will discuss the law of conservation of mass. These laws actually explains how the elements combines together to form compounds. This law is already been studied by you in your previous classes. Especially during class 9 you have studied about the first law, that is law of conservation of mass. First law states that statement you must be knowing, but again I am revising it to you. Suppose first law, law of conservation of mass. See children, let me tell you that in all these laws, means starting 4 laws, you will study only about the mass. We will discuss only about the mass. But in the 5th and 6th laws, we will discuss about the volumes, not mass. Okay, so this has to be noted. So first law we will discuss, it is law of conservation of mass, and this law was given by Lavoisier. You know, you must be knowing who Lavoisier was. Lavoisier is also known as the father of chemistry, and according to him, he stated this law. This is a very simple law, children. Suppose a compound A when combines with, element A combines with element B, it will form a compound AB. For example, if I take carbon plus oxygen, when it combines it will form carbon dioxide. Understood? Now here, according to this law, the mass in the reactant, the total mass of reactant should be equal to the total mass of product. According to this law, you can write the statement also. According to this law, the total mass of reactant must be equal to the total mass of product formed. Okay, suppose here the mass atomic, we all are knowing that atomic mass of carbon is 12 and atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So here it is 12 plus how many atoms of oxygen are there? 2. So it will be 2 into 16, and when you will find out the molecular formula of CO2, here you will get 44. Here also when you will add all these, you will get 12 plus 32 and it will be equals to 42 grams or AMU. So these confirm that the mass of reactant is equals to mass of product. Understood? But children, nowadays this law is not applicable because you can note it down. This law is not applicable. Why it is not applicable? Because modern concept of atom has came into existence, and according to that E equals to mc square, means the mass is related with the energy. it is interconvertible. So that's why this law is not at all now exist. Now we will do one question, one numerical on the basis of this law. So you have to write the question. If you want to write, you can write it in your copies. Otherwise, I will write the question here. You can also write question. Now my question is 1.5 grams of ethane, 1.5 grams of ethane. Formula of ethane will be, I am writing it in bracket, C2H6. 1.5 gram of ethane on complete combustion gives, on complete combustion gives 4.5 grams of CO2. And see children, you all might be knowing that whenever a hydrocarbon is combustion takes place in hydrocarbon, it will always form CO2 and water molecules will be liberated. So here also 4.4 grams of CO2 it will liberate, and 2.7 grams of water, that is H2O, is liberated. Okay, so show that the reaction obeys this law. Here in this question you have to show it whether this is this reaction. So first of all you have to convert this statement into reaction form. How? See, C2H6 when combines with O2, it will form CO2 plus H2O. Now you have to balance it also. Okay, how you will balance? When you will balance, you will get here 7H2O. See, 2 carbons are there. So here it will be again 4, 2. This balancing you have already studied in your class 10. You can do it. Okay, this will be 6H2O. Fine. Now by seeing this reaction, here they have given you the given mass. To find out the mass of oxygen, you are not knowing the mass of oxygen here. So how you will find out? First of all, I will clear here, then it will be easier for you to understand and write down also. So we have to find out the mass of O2. Understood? How you will find out it? First of all, we will find out the number of moles of ethane here. How? We know that N equals to given mass by molar mass. So in case of C2H6, the given mass is 1.5 grams. Okay. So, and molar mass you can find out. C2H6, you will find out that the molar mass of C2H6 is 30. How? 2 into 12 plus 6 into 1. So it will be 24 plus 6, 30 grams. So now here you can find out the number of moles of ethane here. It will be 1.5 by 30. So it will be nearly half, equals to 1 by 2, or you can also write it as 0.05 moles. See, we have calculated the number of moles, but still we are not aware how we have to calculate the number of moles of oxygen. So see, when 2 moles of ethane combines with 7 moles of oxygen, then it produces this type of product. So what will happen when 0.05 moles of ethane will combine with how much of oxygen? By applying this here you can find out. So here I am writing it, you can also write, if I am writing it here, if 2 moles of C2H6, if 2 moles of C2H6 is equals to 7 moles of O2, then 0.05 moles of C2H6 will form how much? It will be 7 by 2 into 0.05. So it will be nearly, when you will calculate it, the value, this can be also written as 7.2, 7 by 2 into 1 by 20. So this will be 7 by 40 here. So this much moles of oxygen will combine to form this much of CO2 here. So now what happens? Now mass of oxygen, how you will calculate? See, this is the number of moles of oxygen we have got. So by calculating this, we can also calculate the mass of O2, which combines with ethane to produce CO2 and H2O. So how you will calculate mass? Again you will apply this formula. Number of moles equals to given mass by molar mass. So here N will be equals to small m by capital M. N you are knowing, it is 7 by 40. Small m you have to find out. Molar mass of O2 is 32 here. So it will be, now m equals to 7 into 32 by 40, and you will get the value nearly, it will be 5.6 grams. It will be 5.6 grams. This is how you have calculated the mass of O2 here. So we are knowing that methane is 1.5 grams. We have got O2 5.6 grams. 5.6 grams, and CO2 given in the question, it is 4.4 grams, and water is 2.7 grams. Now you can add both the sides. You will see the values are same. You will write, hence this reaction follows the law of conservation of mass. Such type of questions can be asked in your exams, but from this law less number of questions are asked, but sometimes they may twist the pattern of the question. So you have to know, you should know how we have solved this problem. Now moving on to the second law. I hope you have understood the first law. Moving on to the second law now, that is law of constant composition or law of definite proportions. This law has been already studied by you in your junior classes, that is in class 9 CBSE. You have studied law of definite proportion when you were studying about atoms. See children, you should also know that atom is the smallest particle which takes part in any chemical reaction. This you must be knowing when you have studied about Dalton's atomic theory in your junior classes. Now our next law, that is the second law, is law of constant composition or definite proportion. Definite proportions. This is also very simple law as our previous law, that is the first law was there. So statement you must be knowing, I hope so. Second law statement, actually see children, this law was given by Proust. Have you heard about Proust? He gave this law, and the statement is, if any compound is taken from any source, the ratio of mass of each element will be definite. That's why the name given definite proportions. It will be definite. Suppose you are taking, I am giving you one example. You have taken water from a lake or tap water or sea water. you have taken water from different sources, but still the formula of water will be H2O, H2O, H2O. It means the ratio of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, it remains constant, it remains definite in from each sources. Whatever the sources is there, the ratio of hydrogen oxygen will remain same. Similarly, if we talk about carbon dioxide or any other compound, then the ratio of their combination will be definite. Like if I talk about glucose, the glucose, if I am talking about glucose, the ratio of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen will remain same whatever the source is. Understood? I hope you have understood this law. Fine. Now suppose somebody has taken two experiments. Two child has done two experiments. First child has taken 0.243 grams of magnesium, and on burning means what? In combination with oxygen, when the yield was there, MgO yield, magnesium oxide yield, it was nearly 0. Suppose Mg in first experiment, Mg plus O2, MgO formed. When you will balance it, it will be balanced like this. So in first experiment, the child has taken 0.243 grams of magnesium. Suppose, okay. So on burning, it will produce how much MgO? It will be nearly 0.4030 grams. Okay. Now in experiment 2, means second experiment, a child has taken how much magnesium? Suppose 0.182 grams Mg he has taken, and on combustion it will produce magnesium oxide of 0.302 grams. Fine. So when you will find out the ratio of these two, you will find it will be nearly same. The yield was nearly same, means ratio of magnesium to oxygen. Because how you will find out the ratio? You will, first of all, if you want to find out these grams, means the mass of oxygen. See here, you have to apply the first law also here, that is law of conservation of mass. Then you can find out the mass of oxygen. First you have to find out the mass of oxygen. How you will find? You will do minus, means this 4.03 and 243. So you will get the value of oxygen here 0.160. Similarly here also you will do subtraction here 182. So it will be like this. It will be 0.120. So when you will find out the ratios of these two, magnesium is to oxygen, again magnesium is to oxygen, it will be definite and constant. So this is how you can explain the law of constant composition or definite proportion. I hope you have understood these two laws. Now moving on to the next third law. Now moving on to the third law, law of multiple proportion. This is very important law. Sometime question may be asked from this topic, law of multiple proportion. Now first of all, note down the statement of this law. When two elements combine to form more than one compound, then the different masses of one element which combines with fixed mass of other elements bears a small whole number ratio to one another. Bears a small whole number ratio to one another. Now this law was given by, you can note down, this law was given by John Dalton. Means Dalton has given this law of multiple proportions. Okay, means here what he want to convey you, see, suppose hydrogen and oxygen, you have taken two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Now it's not necessary that always hydrogen and oxygen, when they will combine together, they will always form water. Sometimes they may form different compounds also, for example hydrogen peroxide. Understood? So according to this law, means statement of this law, I think I should write it here so that everybody can write the statement I am writing. It will be easier for you. When two elements combine to form more than two compounds, or one compound, then the different masses of one element which combines with the other element bears a small whole number ratio to one another. Understood? Suppose I am taking example of CO2 and CO2 and CO, means carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. So here in this case you can see the mass of carbon is 12 here and mass of oxygen is 32. However, here carbon again 12, oxygen 16. Okay, so we have written here, when two elements combine to form more than two compounds or one compound, then the different masses of one element which combines with the fixed mass of other element bears a small whole number ratio to one another. See, in this case mass of carbon is fixed in both the cases, however mass of oxygen is varying. So the statement is like this. Okay, so one element's mass will be fixed but the other element's mass will vary. So when they will combine to form different compounds, the ratio of them, they will bear a simple whole number ratio. Means when you will find out the ratio of oxygen to oxygen, means oxygen here and oxygen here, you will find out that the ratio of these two oxygen will be, they bear a simple whole number ratio. How? I am showing it here, O2 and O. So it will be 32:16. The ratio will be 2:1. So it is a simple whole number ratio. I hope you have understood this. Okay, now on the basis of this law, I will explain you one numerical also so that you can also understand better. I am rubbing it out. Suppose we take different compounds of nitrogen and oxygen. We will make a table here and I am taking the ratios, masses of nitrogen and oxygen, and we will find out the ratio of oxygen. So here nitrogen and oxygen, when they combine, they form different types of compounds. Here I will show you how they form different types of compounds. It forms N2O, okay, and then it forms NO. It also forms NO2. You have also seen, and it also forms N2 O3, and it has tendency to form N2O5 also. N2O5. Now we will see how the mass is varying here. Nitrogen has mass 14 grams and oxygen 16. In this compound, the mass of oxygen is 16, but mass of nitrogen is not 14, it is 28 grams. It is 28 grams. Now in this compound, it is 14 grams nitrogen, oxygen is 16 grams. Nitrogen here 14 grams, oxygen 32 grams. N2 here it is 28 grams, oxygen will be 16 into 3, it will be, how much will be? 48 grams. And nitrogen N2 28, oxygen is 80 grams. Now we cannot find out that the mass, any of the two elements has fixed mass here. Both the masses are varying. So what we have to do? We have to first of all make either of them constant, or means the mass should be constant here, either of nitrogen or oxygen. So it will be easier for us to make the mass of nitrogen constant. So better we will do multiplication it by 2, where 14 grams are there, so it will become 28 and 28. So now the mass of nitrogen will be constant. By doing so, you can easily find out. So whenever you are multiplying the mass of nitrogen with 2, now here also you will have to multiply the mass of oxygen with 2, and here also mass of oxygen with 2. Now when you will find out the ratio, it will be a simple whole number ratio. In first case it is 16, in second case it is 32, in third case it will be 64, in fourth case it is 48 grams, and in fifth case it is 80 grams. So when you will find out the ratio of all these oxygen, you will find it is 1:2:4:3:5. Okay, so this is a simple whole number ratio. I hope you have understood the third law also. So we have completed this part also. Now moving on to the next law, that is the fourth law, which is not given in your NCERT book, but still you should know, because you will have to prepare for your competitive exams later on. That's why I am discussing with you here in the class. So note it down properly and try to understand also. Fourth law is law of reciprocal proportions. Law of reciprocal proportions. See, I am using reciprocal term here. In this law they have used this term reciprocal. How you will understand this? Through the statement and through the explanation which I will give you to you. This law states that, means this law reciprocal, I will first write the statement, then it will be easier to you to understand. According to this law, when two elements, I am writing here, according to, this is little bit difficult, the statement is little bit difficult, so try to understand the statement thoroughly. According to this law, when two elements combine separately with a fixed mass of third element, with a fixed mass of third element, with a fixed mass of third element, then the ratio of masses, comma, then the ratio of masses, then the ratio of masses in which they do so, in which they do so, in which they do so, bears a small whole number ratio, bears a small whole number ratio, small whole number ratio of masses in which they themselves combine, ratio of masses in which they themselves combine. Now try to understand by one example here. I am taking 3 elements because in this law we will talk about 3 elements. See, it's not necessary only 2 elements combined to form different compounds. 3 elements means, suppose carbon and sulfur. I am taking carbon and sulfur here. Both have tendency to combine with fixed mass of oxygen, and they have tendency to combine with each other to form another compound, that is carbon sulfide. See here, when carbon oxygen combines, they form CO2. When sulfur oxygen combine, they form SO2. So according to this law, when 2 elements combine separately with a fixed mass of third element, then the ratio of masses in which they do so bears a small whole number ratio of masses in which they themselves combine. Now the last statement of this law you will understand slowly, gradually I will explain it to you. See children, here carbon is 12 and oxygen is 32. Here sulfur as atomic mass 32 is to 32. So here the ratio will be, I will not talk about the ratio here, okay. Here carbon is, the mass of carbon will be 12, sulfur 32. Now I will explain it to you that carbon and sulfur combine separately with fixed mass of oxygen. In the ratio of masses, carbon, if you will find out the ratio of masses of carbon and sulfide, you will find out it will bear a simple whole number ratio, that is 12 is to 32. The mass of, so it will be 3 is to 8, so it bears a simple whole number ratio. Here also you will see that ratio of masses in which carbon and sulfur themselves combine, it will be equal to the mass when they will combine with themselves. Understood? So this is how this law explains to you. So on the basis of this law, most of the numericals are given in the competitive exams. So need not to do in NCERT books, they haven't given such numericals more, either not explained also. Now we will move on to the next law, that is law of combining volumes or Gay-Lussac's law. This law is applicable for gases, and we will talk about this law in terms of volumes. Means you have to consider the volume part most. Now next statement you should know, when gases react, they do so in volume which bears a simple whole number ratio to one another and to the volume of products formed if it is gases. Okay, suppose H2 and Cl2 when combines, they will form HCl, hydrochloric chloride gas. Okay, so if one volume of hydrogen and one volume of chlorine, they combines to produce 2 volume of HCl, means in question, suppose I will give you one question, when 100 ml of methane burns, it produces CO2 and H2. find volume of O2 required and CO2 produced. Okay, so I will do this question here. First of all of you note down the statement of this law. Law of combining volumes or Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. Why I have written in these two ways? Because in some of the reference books they have used this term also. In some of the reference books they have used Gay-Lussac's law, but we have to follow NCERT. That's why I have mentioned here Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. Okay, first of all you write the statement of this law. Statement. What is the statement? I just told you, when gases react they do so in volume. Okay, when gases reacts they do so in volumes. They do so in volumes which bears a simple whole number ratio. Simple whole number ratio to one another. For example, you can write H2 plus Cl2, it will give HCl. So here one volume of H2 and one volume of Cl2, it will produce 2 volumes of HCl. By doing one numerical here, we will find out how it happens. See, I have given you the question. According to that question, I will write the reaction. Suppose methane, when it combines with O2, it will produce CO2 plus H2O. First of all, children, you have to balance the equation. Without balancing, you cannot find out the further process. If you will balance it, then you could see there that the carbon atoms are balanced already. We have to balance hydrogen and oxygen. Then see, oxygen is 2 here, here it is 3. So what we can do here, we can put 2, so it will become 4, and 2 here, so that hydrogen will be balanced and oxygen will be balanced. Now it is okay. Okay, so here we can see that 1 volume of methane when combines with 2 volumes of oxygen, it will produce 1 volume of CO2. Now here one point you have to note down, that why I am not taking water, because water is liquid here, and according to this law we will not consider liquid. That's why we have to consider only carbon dioxide. In this question you have to find out the volume of O2 required and CO2 produced. Okay, the question, I will repeat this question to you. When 100 ml of methane burns, it produces CO2 and H2. We have to find out the volume of O2 required and CO2 produced. Okay, suppose now we can easily find out if it is 100 ml, so it will become 200 ml and it will become 100 ml. Means when 100 ml of CH4 combines with 200 ml of O2, it will form 100 ml of volume of CO2. I hope you have understood this. So now moving on to the last law, that is Avogadro's law. This law is also very important, and you have already studied about Avogadro's number, the hypothesis. Now, according to Avogadro's hypothesis, if temperature and pressure means these two terms are physical conditions, so when physical conditions remain same, then equal volume of all the gases contains equal number of molecules. How you can understand this? Suppose I have taken here a container, okay, container of 100 ml. Fine, I have taken a container of 100 ml and I have kept the temperature constant. Temperature constant, suppose 25 degrees Celsius. So according to this law, if the temperature and pressure remains same in every condition, so whether I am taking here O2 or CO2 or any other gases, suppose Cl2, any other gases, then the equal volume means the volume is same here, 100 ml. So equal volume of all the gases contains equal number of molecules. So it is related to, means volume is here related to molecules, means V will be directly proportional to N, means number of moles. So you have to keep this in your mind. Understood? So suppose I have given you 100 ml of CO2 gas contains Y number of molecules. How much 50 ml of CO2 will contain how much molecules it will contain? If the volume is decreased, then the number of molecules also decreased. It will become half. It will become Y by 2. Understood? So this is it. We have discussed all the laws here, and I hope it will be beneficial for you. I hope you have understood all the laws completely, thoroughly, and you will practice numericals based on these laws. Thanks for watching. Wish you luck.